Welcome to Gunpoint. Let's start with the story. The story is a lot more immersive than I would have first thought. It flows well, and characters respond in a way that's truly natural. The story begins with our protagonist getting thrown out of his apartment window and landing in an adjacent building that has no roof. Because, screw roofs. Anyways, from there you're contacted by Selena, who has a job for you, but on your way up to talk to her, she gets murdered. And not just kind of murdered, but really murdered. Unfortunately for you, you've been caught on the security cameras as being there when she was killed. So now you have to work at hiding the evidence and unraveling this murder mystery. You'll be hired by various clients, and you must choose not only who you can trust, but how much you should trust them with. Now that we have an idea of the story and what we're going to be doing, the question begs to be asked, what is Gunpoint? Gunpoint is a stealth puzzle game at its core. You're going to find yourself sneaking past guards, rewiring circuits, and employing some mischief. That's not to say you are forced to play that way. If you want to charge in, guns blazing, kicking down doors, and throwing people out windows, you can do that too. I'm sure they all have great life insurance policies anyway, hopefully. You also have abilities you can upgrade and change however you like between the levels. There are also gadgets and tools you can buy and sometimes refund to give you access to more ways to complete the levels. Employing these strategically will give you a great variety in how you approach a level and how you combat the different puzzles and enemies that you're going to be running into. Of course, you aren't forced to use all of these. There are some tools you could go the entire game without being forced to use. Yet, it will be very hard to resist the temptation of some of these. Because, who doesn't want to, rewire a guard's gun to activate the gun of the guard behind him so that when he goes to shoot you, instead his partner shoots him in the back? Who hasn't fantasized about this in their lifetime? Hopefully not that many people outside of a gaming context, but as far as in-gaming goes, there's been more than one time where I've been like, oh, why won't they just shoot each other? Now they can. This is a game with a good sense of humor. This is one of the few games that has actually made me laugh out loud, not just once, but consistently. The humor kind of reminds me of sitting on the couch with my friend and making fun of something in a game or a movie, yet it feels very believable. It's like the character is self-aware, not that they're a video game character, but that they're a person, and you don't see that often enough. Video game characters often follow this sort of rigid, I am realistic and I am believable, but I don't actually acknowledge anything ridiculous that happens around me. But not this time. As we come on to the music here, I have to admit, my game bugged out. What I mean by that is, except for the first 2 levels, I did not have any music in the game. So I only got to hear this much while I was actually playing the game. In order to get to the music, I had to go into the extras folder because I have the exclusive edition and listen to it there. With that being said, I really did like the music. It was this very old-timey detective style music, and it was really, really good. You could tell that the people who worked on this put a lot of thought and energy into this soundtrack. Something that I've commented on for years is that a lot of games seem to use music as a background feature, and only a background feature. But as an older gamer who grew up with games where music was a huge part of things, I am very glad to see this taking a forefront, being energetic or soft, but being noticeable, being something where you will remember what these songs are in time to come. And I assume if my music had worked in game, it would have come across really well. The difficulty in this game is a lot like Little Big Planet 2. If you didn't play that, here's what I mean. It is very easy to beat this game, but it's very hard to master it. Getting through a level is as easy as taking your time to solve things, but getting the best rating will often prompt you to replay the levels over and over, trying to get not only more stealthy, but much less violent and much faster as well. This is not a game you're going to play through once and be like, oh, I achieved the top score and everything the first time because I'm the most pro gamer ever. You're going to have to learn the levels. You're going to have to put in some time to get the reward from this if you want to reach the top rating. I should warn you, however, that each time you replay a level, your rating will be replaced with that most recent rating, even if it's a lot worse than your last one. Included with the game is a built-in level editor to let you create your own levels. It's a great idea, but one that wasn't fully realized. You can't change the size or shape of objects, you can only layer them. This is particularly a problem when you're dealing with zone lighting and AI. You can't wire electronics together except by luck, the 1-second police response time to gunshots in user levels is not alterable, and there is no built-in upload or download feature for community level sharing. So while I'm glad to see the addition of a level editor, which is a feature that many games don't have, it could have used some more time being fleshed out. And of course, I should talk a bit about the bugs, because I'm not going to say, hey, this game is worth your money, or this game isn't worth your money, if I don't tell you the whole truth. And that said, I ran into game crashes pretty frequently. Generally, every 2 or 3 levels, the game would just be like, nope, not working anymore. As I mentioned earlier, the music was completely missing. I don't know why. My upgrades would get switched off if I was messing with the level creator, but I wouldn't get my money back. So, like, I would suddenly be missing my revolver, which cost me about $1,000. And I just couldn't buy it again because I didn't have the money to do so, and I couldn't get any more money because I'd already completed the game. So I was just out of a revolver. Sometimes the game would start out like it was in fast forward, and gradually get slower over the course of like 10 or 15 minutes until you felt like you were stuck in permanent slow motion. The only way to fix this was to turn off the game and turn it back on, and even then it would just do it over again. I tried asking about what had caused this, but I never got a response back, but I imagine that's just because they're swamped right now, with the game being released with many emails from many people. But I have no idea. One other thing I ran into was that sometimes when I went to start a new game, it would also reset my settings. Like, instead of being windowed, which is how I like to play, it would jump back into full screen and everything would be reset to default, which was really frustrating when trying to record this review. Before I tell you whether or not I think this game is worth your money, there's 2 last things we have to tackle real quick. That's the length of the game and the price of the game. That being said, if you want to complete all the optional objectives and you want to get a relatively decent rank on the missions, it's going to take you maybe 3 or 4 hours to get through this game. It is a very, very short game. That being said, the price is $10, and that could be kind of steep for a game of this length, and I understand people who think that way. Believe me, I tend to be one of them. That said, this game has a great amount of replayability, with the different ways you can tackle levels with gadgets you unlock later that you can bring back into the earlier levels with the level editor. There's going to be a lot more for you to do even after you just flat out beat the game, and that's where it's really important. If you have a short game, it's important to have good replayability for that game to justify the cost, and this one certainly does so. That said, there are 3 editions you can go for. You've got the standard edition, which is $10, comes with the level editor. You have the special edition, which is $20, but it also includes the soundtrack and the developer commentary, which is really nice for nerds like me who like to know this kind of stuff. And then you have the exclusive edition for $30, which is what I have. That comes with all of the previous benefits, the making of Gunpoint, the prototype pack, which lets you play the game at various stages of creation, like when it was a year old, when it was 2 years old, kind of thing. It comes with 4 exclusive music tracks as well. And then finally it adds the secret beta access list, and what that basically means is that if they make another game, they may do a secret beta for it, and only people who are on this list are going to get in. And that brings us to our question of the day. Is this game worth your money? Is this game worth your time? The answer to both of these questions is yes, it is worth your money and your time. It is a very fun game that's going to keep you coming back to it for more and more despite how short it is. This game that's going to make you think, going to make you laugh, and maybe even make you feel something like, man, I really wish I hadn't pushed that guard out the window because now the whole place is after me. So it's kind of like that. As of the time of this review, I've already put 8 hours into this 3 or 4 hour long game. And I'm still not done with it yet. There's still more stuff I want to do. There's still more high scores that I want to achieve. So, should you buy this game? Yes, it's a lot of fun. Who hates fun? Nobody hates fun. Some people do. Now, I'm not going to give this a numerical score because you can ask my doctor, I'm terrible at the 1 to 10 scale, but also we only use 4 of them anyway. It's 7, 8, 9, and 10. Tell me, somebody, what's the last game you saw that got a 2? What was the last game you saw that got a 2? So instead, I just break it down into a couple easy categories for me. Those categories are definitely stay away from this. You should, I can't really recommend it, but you might have fun with it. Yeah, you'll probably like this, or man, this is a lot of fun, you should buy it. It's basically the same 4 things, but in a way that actually makes sense to me, and hopefully makes sense to you. So, I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you decide to get the game, I hope you have a great time with it, and I will see you all next time. And, don't, throw yourself out any windows. It's really painful.